Hello and welcome to Transforming Industries, the interview podcast focusing on industrial transformation, technology, and what M&A has to do with it. My guest today is Oleg Shilovitsky from OpenBOM.
The challenge around this is always that everyone who is coming and saying, I have an idea, usually is ahead of time. So the challenge is to measure this gap, because if you come too early, you burn resources, and as most of startups that fail are failing because what they do they don't have customers. That no one needs this. Now, if you wait too late, like you're in the very competitive situation. So it's a really a very, very, very mixed set of signals. I like the way Peter Thiel said it, that if you feel that you are late, it means that the timing is right.
Transforming Industries.
Today, we take a closer look at the PLM Software segment. And how can you do that better than inviting someone who has more than 25 years experience in this industry? So that's why I invited Oleg Shilovitsky, the founder of OpenBOM, to the podcast discussing with me today. We will talk about the founding of OpenBOM and what it takes to establish and differentiate a new company in an established and rather mature market segment. We will also take a look at the broader PLM landscape, discussing market drivers, technology trends, as well as taking a look at the competitive landscape. But enough said. Welcome to Transforming Industries, Oleg. Great to have you here today.
Hello, team. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Let's get started.
Yeah, sure. Oleg, before we go deeper into the foundation and your company, OpenBOM, and also discussing the wider landscape of the PLM software segment, maybe let's first talk a little bit about yourself, as you, I think, spent more than 25 years in the PLM segment, right? So I think you have a lot to talk about. Maybe you can share some of your highlights or roles and companies you worked for and the experiences you made.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I was graduated in the mix of computer science and construction. So that was the outcome of me at the beginning, wanted to be an architect. So somehow I ended up with the math and the computer science and construction. But I found a lot of interest in computer-aided design, in the computer systems. And this is how I've made it to start with the Autodesk software. So I was fortunate to have an opportunity to work also for large companies and also for smaller startups. So I worked for Autodesk reseller in Israel for some time. I worked for a startup who was acquired by Dassault that was developing PLM software. And I also was fortunate to work also for Dassault and also for Autodesk after acquisition of my previous company. So I've seen the large CAD and PLM vendors, and I also was involved in the business of resellers and partners, and also was involved in the startups. So that's the mixed experience, but I found the most profound and fortunate thing that I had the chance to work with different customers, because there is a huge opportunity always to learn from customers, from good customers and good situations, from troubles. Those are things that where you learn a lot.
Yeah. So in which industries did you work most of your time, or different industries that you worked for?
You see, it's mostly reflecting the companies that I worked for, like the Autodesk resellers business in Israel back in the 90s was mostly around architecture and construction. This is the main, you think about AutoCAD business. So that's the AutoCAD business. So the PDM business was mostly around small and medium-sized companies, a lot of SolidWorks customers among them. So this is where I've been fortunate to meet SolidWorks people, especially through their relationships with Dassault. Different industrial companies. Dassault was a lot of large companies, a lot of Dassault large customers in aerospace, in construction equipment, in automotive, and the Autodesk, and it's a mix. I mean, it's a mix. It's also very interesting and very valuable. It's to see at Autodesk is that they have a mix of manufacturing and construction business. Also different resellers, different partners in the way they work. So it's a mix of industries. So today we mostly work at OpenBOM with companies, with small and medium-sized companies that are developing complex products. So it's the industrial equipment, robotics, machinery, medical, but it's growing. So it's becoming to larger companies. We see a lot of problems that larger companies are facing. So it's a mix.
Mm-hmm. So actually, when we are already at the starting talking about OpenBOM, when did you found OpenBOM? Well,
OpenBOM was founded in 2016. Mm-hmm. Then went through the different stages of very early development, and started to sell at 2019.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And after all these years in the industry with different large players in the market that you already mentioned, what were the, I don't know how to say, the inflection point or the trigger saying, I want to start my own company?
Well, it's not about I want to start my company. I think it's more I see the problem and I see the opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's where you know, you're trying to come to this decision that you want to. Mm-hmm. You see the opportunity. The challenge around this is always that everyone who is coming and saying I have an idea usually is ahead of time. Like every entrepreneur, you will be ahead of your time. Mm-hmm. So the challenge is to measure this gap, because if you come too early, you burn resources, and as the most of startups that fail are failing because what they do, they don't have customers. That no one needs this. Now, if you wait too late, like you're in the very competitive situation. So it's a really a very, very, very mixed set of signals. I like the way I think Peter Thiel said it, that if you feel that you are late, it means that the timing is right. So okay. that's kind of situation. So, but I mean, yes, it's always hard decision. But I mean, mm-hmm. I would not recommend to anyone to start a business just because they say I want to start a business.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. But when you are saying you identified your opportunity, so what specifically was the opportunity? I mean, the PLM industry is already, let's say, quite mature. There is a lot of large players. So what was the point or the gap that you identified, saying, okay, I have to do that and fill this gap?
Well, that's a great question. So it's always what I've learned is the most valuable thing is always to try to see the big trend. So the big trend is something like, it's unlike going for a particular narrow opportunity, like someone can say, oh, there's a missing button, or there is a missing kind of tool. I mean, it can work. I mean, there are a lot of things where I discovered it this way. But it's always good if you think about the business to go with the trend. So if there is a major trend, because if there is a major trend, it eventually will bring you to the right place. So you can make a mistake. You can even pivot between different options. It's not always everything can go smoothly. Let's put differently. Never, nothing will go smoothly. But I mean, if there is is there a major trend, and the major trend that is happening in manufacturing is a digital transformation. So I know there is it's a very overused word, the digital transformation. But there are a couple of things in this trend that are very, very important and they are profound and not going to change. So, for example, the complexity. So the complexity is skyrocketing in everything. Like every product is now more complex than 20 years ago. Software, it's a main reason for that, but it is in every place. It's electronic, software, connected applications, Internet of Things. So the complexity is skyrocketing. At the same time, manufacturing is going through the different ways of democratization. So if you think about this, you don't need to be a large company with the complex facilities to start a manufacturing company. So you can work with contractors, you can work with contract manufacturing facilities. So there's a lot of possibility today to start a manufacturing company in the corner of the small building, right? But now how this all plays together is that you have increased complexity, and at the same time you have smaller companies that are vulnerable and they are looking for solutions. Now it's all together. Those are two things. And the third thing is also very, very, very important in my view, is that manufacturing companies are moving to services. Now, what was obvious like 30, 40, 50 years ago is that companies were selling products. So now, because of business of subscriptions and services is growing, many companies are saying, well, we will not sell the product, we will provide services. What it sounds like not a big deal, it brings a lot of informational challenges and IT challenges. Let's give you an example. So let's say I'm developing drones and I want to sell them. Well, drone is a relatively simple device. I can manufacture it. I can hire someone to manufacture it. It's fine. So, but then one day I'm saying, like, to whom I will sell this drone? I can sell this drone to someone who is, for example, using this for monitoring of the agriculture or monitoring of, we have a customer who is monitoring golf courses. So, and then at a certain moment of time, we say, no, we will not sell them drones. We'll give them services. So at the moment of time you give them services, you're immediately ending up with the fleet of drones that you need to manage, you need to maintain. And that's a huge IT challenge. So if you think about this is where the real product life cycle goes, because each drone requires maintenance. You need to have a service BOM. If you're replacing something in this drone, it needs to be recorded. Now, if this is not a small drone or bigger aircraft, still small comparing to Boeing, there are a lot of regulations that you need to follow. I mean, this is what creates a huge informational complexity. But this everywhere. Today, services are broadly accepted and many manufacturing companies are looking into this. So that's brings IT challenges that we never seen before.
Mm-hmm. And actually, what specifically is it then that sets OpenBOM and the idea of the solution apart from other vendors in the market?
Well, it's another great question. I would say there are business differentiators and there are technological differentiators. So no one is waking up in the morning and asking what technology you use and what software. So let's start from the business perspective. So all existing vendors that you've been talking about them, and indeed PLM, it's a well-established businesses, the large companies serving very large enterprises. But if you think about this, all these solutions were like 20 years, 25 years old. And most importantly, from the business standpoint, they served large companies. So they served large companies and they never been ready and provided a solution for smaller businesses. Mm-hmm. It was always like, let's take the huge thing and try to scale this down. Never worked well. On the other side, if you think about businesses, the businesses are not the large companies, but the businesses is a network of companies. Because even if I will take big automotive OEM, they work with thousands of suppliers, and this is the network. And in general, everyone is working with the different other companies, and these connections are reflecting the business relationships. On the other side, software is completely not ready for this paradigm shift. Because the software, PLM software, it's a database. Okay, so you go to 5 companies, install them PLM database, you end up with 5 databases. Okay, now you say how this will be working together. Oh yeah, you can export Excels from these databases and send it to each other. Sounds like this is what we see, right? So I cannot quote names, but I can tell you billion-dollar companies are exporting Excels and sending it to contractors. Okay. That's a business challenge. So the second thing is that the challenge with the existing PLM software that they've been always focused on the application and engineering processes. So it was an efficiency and how to improve processes, which is, by the way, nothing wrong with this. Now, the opportunity that I see is to look not from the application perspective, but from the data perspective. Because if you think about for the last 20 years, the most successful businesses were businesses that took some data and figured out how to make it valuable for customers. Starting from Google, continue with different companies, the traditional pattern that you can see for the last 20 years, we can figure out some intelligence out of data and sell it to customers to their success. So that what differentiates the OpenBOM as a business and a vision, because we look through the lens of a data rather than let's give another application to the customer to manage change records. Okay, so the business processes in connected environment, that's what current large well-established PLMs are missing. The second, they look into data first. This is the thing is missed, and the last but not least is also being able to work in connection. So connectivity are absent. I mean, this is a separate database. So OpenBOM is founded with the very solid and unique technological foundation of data management, available as a network, as a multi-tenant network, and also can easy scale down to the customers that are not Fortune 1000 enterprises.
Okay, and actually, as I understood, the key focus is on the applicability for small medium customers. And is there also kind of certain industries that you're focusing on, or is the software more, let's say, industry agnostic?
In general, software is industry agnostic. For kicks and giggles, I can say you can manage recipe of chocolate using OpenBOM, and you can manage a bomb for medical device. So it's on a certain level, it's industry agnostic. But as a business, you cannot go broad. So you need to focus on the particular. We need to focus on the particular niche. Without this, it's very hard to build anything that scales. So we for the last 3-4 years, we've been focusing on the combination of complex products that requires better data management than Excel, and at the same time small and nimble companies that are lack of IT support, lack of funds, and looking in a very capital efficient way. So that's the niche. But we are growing, and we are looking how to expand. So we come into other places where we see large companies experiencing the same problems that we see with the small companies.
Okay. I mean, that brings me already to the next question. So at which stage of development are you currently in the company? So you already mentioned scaling. So have you already started developing, let's say, kind of a partner system, like system integrators to do the implementation for the software? How do you develop your ecosystem?
Well, the foundation of OpenBOM ecosystem is the openness. So the thing that we started with is the building the community of users. So, and we acknowledge that for many customers is not only a question of a software, but it's also a question of education.
Mhm.
So that's why we created a very large set of information that we published online, and we do it continuously because we are not only giving the software, but we also giving the people recommendations, education, information that help them to decide how to do it. Because it's sometimes hard to believe that it's not only about software, it's also about people that need to kind of wrap their head around how to manage information. Because the current paradigm for last 40 years was if this is something that looks like a file, put it in the folder. And if it's something that looks like a table, put it in Excel. And if it's something that looks like more complex, put it in the database. But those are files and folders and documents are very fundamental in the understanding and education of people. So, and that's why when you come to them and say you will be managing data, for them it's a question, wait a second, what is that? Like how I do it? That's the important element. So we provide all this. So we started with the community of users. We started with the education of users through the content that we provide. And we also are bringing partners. So we have a group of partners, the companies that like to help our customers and like to develop this. And now we're also growing a group of partners that resell. This is another element where the education is becoming important because as we scale, we cannot teach everyone.
Yeah.
And the partners, they have a better connection with the users, especially the country-specific partners. Like, for example, we just signed a resellers agreement with the company in Germany. So my German can go as long as a Stückliste, so then my German stops. But engineers like to call people, and engineers like to call people and ask questions, and that's where I believe that the partnership also will play a role of helping customers in a better way.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of marketing, so I know you're very active on LinkedIn yourself. You have your own blog on PLM issues. I think already for a couple of years, right? So I've read through a couple of
for 15
blogs. Wow, yeah. So is this like LinkedIn and blog? Are these also the main, let's say, marketing tools or channels for OpenBOM, or do you use different channels and formats?
We use different channels, but the content is the foundation of our digital marketing. So this is where everything starts, and then it's not about a single channel. Over the course of OpenBOM development, we've been using different channels already now, because, for example, partnership opportunities. App Store, this is one channel. The LinkedIn that you mentioned, yes, that's another channel. But 5 years ago, Twitter was more professional. Now Twitter is less professional and more political. So the people are moving in the different places. So the content is ultimately a foundation of our go-to-market strategy. But then part of our strategy is to go to different channels, and we measure what works better, and we measure how we can improve what we have. So it's certainly not a single place where we go, but we just measure, and we work through different channels. And referral, by the way, it's another very interesting opportunity, because we have people that are moving between companies and buying OpenBOM Just because they learn that this is a good solution for them in one company, they come into another company and buy an OpenBOM. So it's another way to do it. So the word of mouth, it's not something that I would be discounting, actually, even.
Mm-hmm. And one other thing, like you mentioned before, like saying when you have the idea to found a company or the opportunity is in many cases a little bit ahead of the market maturity or market acceptance. So how did you do the financing of the company? In the beginning, was it like bootstrapped, and then later on you acquired venture capital, or how did it work for you?
It's a mix. So OpenBOM is privately funded, but it's a mix. It's a mix of different sources. That's I think it's the whole topic. Goes much beyond PLM, but
yeah. Okay. Generally, to finalize that part, is there any? I mean, you're very coming from a different angle of founding than many other founders, right? So you have like this tremendous industry experience, and having then founded something, what would be your advice to younger founders, especially in the software or industrial software segment, building up a company based on the experiences that you made?
Well, that's advices. Advices are usually very easy, but I mean, the foundation that I think always can work is start from the problem that you understand or experience, either first-hand or you have a deep understanding of the problem. So if you don't have it, it's very very unlikely that you will be able to do something. That's why I would always say to everyone, just figure out something that you like, figure out something that you're deeply familiar, figure out that something that you experience as a pain. So those are things that usually a very solid foundation of starting a business of any kind. If you are in consulting business, if you are in the software business, any kind of business, services business, find the problem that you're deeply familiar with, and you know how to solve it. You understand it. So I think this is the foundation and the most important foundation. I think in the many advices that people give in about starting businesses, I think the all other things are usually overstated, like too important, and I would not be focusing on them at all. Like people are asking different questions, like how to form a company. Like you will end up figuring out how to form a company. That's usually not very much important. But finding a problem and not running, like maybe one advice as someone with a technical background. It's very, and many founders and in the startups are coming with a technical background. It's very typical to over prioritize the product and technology. Not that this is not important, it is, but if you over prioritize the product and technology and under prioritize sales and business, this is where many companies are finding themselves in the trouble. So I even like looking backward in OpenBOM, I would say starting sales even earlier than we started, although we tried to start it very very early, not early enough, and lesson that we learned starting from sales even before you made something. That's sometimes just revert the scripts. Go and sell something that you don't have yet. So that can work. So that's just my three points.
Okay. If we now take a little bit a broader view on the overall PLM market, maybe it's just a feeling is like that compared to, let's say, the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, where PLM was always a topic, and if you look at sales figures, there was always a market for it. But in the last couple of years, my feeling is that the software is much more in the spotlight, driven by different trends, like, as you mentioned already, product complexities, sustainability is a topic, and so on. Do you share this view that there is a more focus and also a broader focus in companies on PLM than it was in the past?
Quite honestly, I don't know. I think that there are maybe two things. So one is that the problems are getting more broader, like what I said about complexity. So that is happening more and more than before. On the other side, I think the PLM is a narrow niche. Again, it's important to say, when you say PLM, I know some people rightfully just waiting and saying, don't say PLM. Say what you mean by saying PLM. If it's the PLM software or it's a PLM business strategy. So those are not the same. So when you say PLM, what do you mean? It's a PLM as a business strategy. There are people that only will talk to you about PLM as a business strategy. But vendors obviously will talk to you about software and tools. So I think still PLM is going through some challenging time, trying to prove its name again and again and again. So I'm hearing different questions, like if companies still believe that PLM is an important thing or something else is an important thing. I think it is important. I think it is important for companies, but the way companies look at this is just changing.
So what do you think are the key business drivers for PLM making the software important? I mean, I mentioned already some buzzwords like sustainability, product complexity. I think one key topic is also integration or hybrid products, right? Like hardware, software integration, these kind of topics. So what from your perspective, what are the key drivers for the PLM software segment?
I think the digital transformation and complexity are two main drivers for PLM technology and businesses to exist, because this way or another, company needs to develop products. And everyone where you will be coming now, everyone will tell you one thing and only one thing: it's faster. Like everyone wants to develop faster. It was always faster, better, cheaper, faster, that's true. But I think more and more companies are saying faster. Everyone wants to develop faster. Everyone wants to bring to the market faster. Everyone wants to react faster. Customers are demanding faster support. It's like just our life. You know, I remember 20 years ago, someone was telling, like, check your emails once a day. Like, that's not how we live today, right? So, you know, different messengers and different communication tools, and everyone is just buzzing. You cannot wait 24 hours anymore. So many customers demanding support immediately. Many customers are demanding, if they're looking for something, they demand replies in a couple of hours. So if you look, for example, in the support system, and for large support systems, you can see a broad trend. You will see an average response time in the industry goes in the single hours. That's not how we worked 20 years ago, when you're sending support message and saying, well, I should have an answer in 5 days in the week. So that's a change.
Mm-hmm. And actually, how do you see the adoption of cloud technology specifically now to the PLM software segment? I mean, if you read articles, you always hear it's disrupting the industry and so on. But my feeling also from other software segments, the idea has more progress than the reality in terms of implementations. And how do you see the maturity in terms of cloud technology?
I think cloud as technology is well established thing, which is in general run something on someone else's computer that can be scaled, virtualized in different ways. So from that standpoint, I don't think someone is doing something different now in general. You might have these virtual computers in one of these large computing providers like Amazon and Microsoft, but you can have someone who is hosting servers for you, and it also will be called the cloud. So I think from that perspective, everything is cloud anyway. I don't think someone is running computers under the desk anymore. People are running, like the last COVID event was huge for companies that started to work and run their desktops in the cloud. So even in very regulated spaces, like for example legal, like companies are running virtual computers in the cloud. And so from that standpoint, I don't think cloud is a question of maturity. It's very mature already, and businesses are thriving in the cloud. Now, specifically, what cloud and how to do it, that's where the devil is in the details. Because if you say my cloud is the same enterprise PLM that was developed 25 years ago, and I host it on my servers on Amazon, that would be one cloud. And on the other side, if you say my PLM is an online platform where multiple companies can use it at the same time and share information, that would be a different cloud. So the first one will be basically hosting the same software in a different place and paying for virtual resources. The second will be organizing different processes and organizing different treatments of information. So that's why I would say cloud is too generic to say about what is the cloud maturity. I think it needs to be taken more in details, and then the answer can be provided. And I think we are growing in this cloud segment, where the new type of, there are different buzzwords. Some people say it cloud native, some people call it online, some people the words are maybe less important here. But to understand what is the architecture of the system, it's important.
Okay, and the other topic that is like since 1.5 2 years everywhere is like AI. How do you see AI actually involved in the PLM segment? So what would be key areas from your perspective where it makes most sense at the current stage, and where do you see development possibilities for AI applications in PLM?
I would say shortly, AI is about how to use data in a much more efficient way. So we just went through this particular inflection point where many people figured out how to use this generative AI technology like ChatGPT and make a practical application. But people were investing into these different AI technologies. They didn't call them AI; they called them differently. But this is not a new field. It went through this point where technologies like OpenAI and ChatGPT introduced it, and that's when combined with the cheaper computing resources. So you now able to do something that you couldn't do before. So the key element in the AI business, as everyone is asking to me, it's first related to data, because without data, no AI solution. And the second is how it actually benefits and solving a problem. So a lot of people today are saying, okay, AI, like 2 years ago, you go say word AI, everyone is standing next to you and saying, okay, here's, go, develop. Today, it's not. Today, you say UI, you say AI, everyone says UI. Like, tell us and show me what you will be doing. That's why if I go to the roots and if I go at the beginning of our conversation, when you ask like how you start a business and how you start doing something, I'm saying go backward to the problem that you want to solve. See that this is the problem that actually needs to be solved for people. And then only after go with the technology and put the button and call it AI or whatever, call it Copilot. So we are doing research in this space. We're trying to understand what is the path that we can go and how we can manage data. Again, with the context and boundary, because data companies are very sensitive to their data, and if we can solve a real problem. So I think that's the answer to AI question is not different from the answer of like how to build a solution. Just another technology.
Yeah, and two other topics that are emerging recently is like digital thread and digital twin. Digital thread is, I think, is a huge topic, right? How do you see, or how do you see, if you look at companies or work with companies, the maturity stage of that? I mean, if you look at the large vendors, they start to acquire companies more downstream in order to build certain or integrate different software solution as a foundation for this topic. So how do you see the development stage, and which role would PLM play in that context?
Well, I think those are two very important. I would not call them buzzwords, two important trends. Yeah. So one of them was the key in foundation of PLM from the early beginning, because PLM was founded, and I'm speaking about tools and technologies. PLM was founded as a software that helps to manage and connect information, people and information. So digital thread, from that perspective now, it's a way how to connect different applications through the information, through some actions and activities. So if you're making changes in one place, you want them to be reflected in another place. If you're getting into reports, you want to get combined information from multiple systems. If you use a part in maintenance, you want to be connected to this part definition and engineering. So that's about connectivity. So digital thread is just maybe a fancy and sophisticated word that says this is how we can make connectivity. Now, digital twin is the continuation of everything that we know as a simulation. So we've been using simulation as a way to experiment with the virtual models and not to create a physical test. So we've been making crash tests for cars virtually, and in order not to break cars or break less cars, also do it faster. So digital twin is a major trend that is about how we can use virtual environment and how we can use the data that can simulate the behavior of real products. So from that perspective, again, the first is the connectivity, thread is the connectivity, multiple applications, the problem was forever. Twin was modeling and trying to predict how products will perform in a real life, and also give this opportunity to people to experience products before and shorten time, by the way, going back to the problem of how to do everything faster. So I don't think there are kind of fundamentally new problems. I think it's just a better understanding about how we're solving the same problem.
Mm-hmm. And if we take finally a short look on the competitive landscape in the PLM software segment. I mean, as we discussed in the beginning and also looking at your career, it's already a well-established segment, right? With several large players in the market, like pure industrial software players, several enterprise software players that some time back have entered the market. But I think like cloud was definitely a topic that brought younger companies into the market, providing cloud native software solutions. How do you see the competitive landscape if you see like the more mature companies, smaller companies? Is this basically what defines the landscape at the moment, or?
Well, it's a good question. I don't think that cloud fundamentally is something that triggered creation of new companies. It's not a fundamental trigger. It's a technology. So it's technology that helped the companies to build the businesses in a different way. So it's a technology that helps companies to reach markets in a different way. So from that standpoint, you can think about cloud as a technology that enables creating new companies. OpenBOM was created, and we have global reach. We have customers on all continents because cloud technology. But on the other side, fundamentally, cloud doesn't change the problem and solution, because above the cloud technology, you need to come with solution, and if solution is not different, that will not be solving the problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's why if you look on the PLM companies and their formation, the first question I would always challenge everyone to ask is like, what is the business model behind this? Like, and how they will get to the market. So I read very thought-provoking article from some of the founders that shut down the business, and he said the channel was the most important discovery. Like, you need to have an unfair channel advantage if you're starting a business, because you will not find your customers. That's another challenge. And also keep in mind, manufacturing companies are extremely conservative. Like engineers, extremely conservative. So companies are developing innovative solutions by themselves and using very conservative tools. That's the very, very interesting combination that I found. But that's the reality. So cloud is a tool, is a technology, but it's not fundamentally a thing that will change the market and say, oh, now we will have a new. We will, like, there are great companies, like amazing companies, will not quote their names now, but there are amazing companies that developing greatest technologies using cloud, but from a business standpoint, it's still the problem.
Okay, and if you compare the competitive landscape, like if you compare it with other industrial software segments, so for example in MES you have seen recent moves from manufacturing companies acquiring MES companies and so on. We haven't seen that so far in the PLM segment. So it's basically like, if you want, like enterprise software companies coming there, but it's basically still software native driven segment. What do you think, like new technologies like digital twin, for example, will that change the landscape? Because this is a topic that companies from the PLM segment are focusing on, but also from outside the PLM segment. Will that change also, let's say, the PLM landscape? Because somehow the boundaries of the industry are a little bit eroding. Or what is your view on that?
I think what you said is right, is that boundary is blurring. So, and because of that, what I expect that will be happening is that we will see services that will become complementary to existing solutions. So it's not that we will not see a separate products that kind of can solve the problem and call themselves PLM. But what I expect is the more and more companies that will be solving a particular problem and then complement each other, because that will be the same. This will be repeating the paradigm of iPhone. Like iPhone gives you a platform and you can run multiple applications. So we're using these applications together sometimes. and sometimes they are connected, and when they connected, it works well for us. So I would expect the same here, because it will be a market where there is a white space because people are using Excels. But in the market where people are already using some products, I see a lot of intertwining of products and services rather than, okay, let's bring another service, replace everything. So I think more granular approach that will be happening, and that will help to companies, first of all, solve the problem and bring it to customers.
Okay. One pattern that also is visible in the PLM industry, like in other software segments as well, like you have this typically large by small. As we discussed, like a lot of innovation is driven by small and young companies that at a certain level of time are typically acquired by larger companies. In the beginning, you mentioned yourself that you work for some smaller companies that also later on have been acquired. What is your experience? What makes such acquisitions successful? And oftentimes they are failing. What from your personal point of view, what are the criteria or the success factors to make such kind of acquisitions successful?
Well, I think it's something specific in PLM. Certainly, I think the M&A is the well-known field, and I think the more examples of how it fails rather than examples that how it works. In my view, it's very dependent on the company that is acquiring, not the company that is acquired. It's a lot of depending on the companies that is acquiring and how they manage it. And that's where are the roots of also success and also a problem, because you basically, it's like implant, right? So you take something and then you bring it in. So, and there are different strategies that companies are using for M&A. So they're changing over time, but the key element is that it's not very often, it's not about the company that will be acquired, but it's more about company that acquiring and what is their vision, how to bring people in, how to bring technology in, how to bring customers in, and then also how to integrate it all together. Because otherwise you will end up, there are some vendors that have 4 different PLM systems today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's by itself means that something is wrong with the acquisition process. So, but there are explanations why, because they didn't figure out how to integrate. That was too expensive. That was the complexity. That was the customers. There are always good explanations. So there are successful examples where a company acquired it, did not integrate it completely, and build huge businesses. SolidWorks would be probably the number one that I will bring as an example, because for a very long time it was isolated from other businesses. There are many other examples like this, but there are also opposite examples that something continued to be isolated, and then dies after 20 years. So it happens as well.
Finally, can you give some outlook on OpenBOM? So what are your plans in terms of development of the company? Like, do you plan to internationally expand? Is there any technology developments to expect, or?
Well, I think making customers happy. That's the plan. Everything else you can figure out later. So. I don't remember who said it. It's probably Carol Bartz of Autodesk. She said that if a company has customers and revenue, they can fix everything. So focus on customers. So we focus on customers in OpenBOM. We go in very deep in the understanding of their problems. We are going very deep in our understanding how to work together with them, which drives the appreciation of customers And then we expand in different places that we believe that are promising. Try and go. It's I like one of the quotes that riches are in niches. So you go find the right niche and then you move forward. So when we started OpenBOM, we've been very, very, very in a very rare, narrow niche. So we continue to be in a narrow niche, but we expand and put in the different places where we see companies are struggling with the problems. So that's the strategy.
Okay. Oleg, then thank you very much for your time and the interesting discussion. And I wish you all the best for the way forward with OpenBOM.
Thank you, Tim. It's a great questions, great conversations, and I hope it will be useful for the listeners of your podcast. And look forward to stay in touch. Thank you for inviting me.
Stay in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Transforming Industries.
So that was episode 7 with, I think, really interesting insights from Oleg on the PLM software industry. If you enjoyed listening and you want to support us, please leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform or recommend the podcast to your family, friends, and everybody else who's interested in the topics that we address. Again, thank you very much for listening, and make sure you tune in again in 2 weeks for a new episode. All the best and goodbye.